Hey guys, Scott here. If you watch me, you know I try to be as least sensationalist as possible. I try to have as many rational and calm takes I can possibly have, usually to the detriment of people watching me. They're annoyed. I'm saying, hey, let's calm down. Let's see what happens. People don't want to see that. They want to be outraged about the thing that's currently bullshit. So knowing that that's usually how I try to take my stances, you should take what I'm saying seriously here. Krasue is probably the strongest killer in the entire game right now. I know for a fact she won't stay this way, so I'm not really freaking out about it because it's a guarantee she will be nerfed, probably pretty significantly in some regards because, like I said, she is absurdly overpowered right now. So I'm trying to not, worry about it because, like I said, I do think we're in a scenario here where there is basically universal public outcry about how insanely strong she is, to the point where the developers are not going to wait months to fix her. This is going to be something like within a week we're going to get changes for her. That's what I think, and I'm hoping that is the case because, yes, right now she is blatantly overpowered. She is stronger than Ghoul. She's stronger than possibly Blight, stronger than possibly Nurse. I'm not 100% sure there. At the very least, she is top 3. A lot of people are making a very convincing argument that she's in fact the best killer in the game, and I wouldn't even fault them for that right now based off of what I've seen when I played her. But the fact is, she was massively buffed from the PTB. Now, on the PTB, when I made my first impressions, I said she was like A tier, which is very good and frankly should be like the target for killer balance. So when a killer's A tier, they don't really need to be buffed anymore. I kind of wanted a little bit of changes here, like I wanted maybe the transition to head form being a bit smoother, and they did that, which is great, but then they did 50 other things that were completely unnecessary. So the problem with balancing the killer was this. On the PTB, there was one thing about her that felt kind of bad and clunky when you were playing as her. It was when you used your actual tentacle whip attack in your head form, not headlong flight, and you tried to hit somebody with that little dash attack, it would collide with things kind of immediately, and you couldn't really steer it that much, which means you can only kind of use it in the same way like a Demogorgon can use his power, kind of like a straight line lunge sort of thing. So a lot of tiles in this game are straight lines. Shack is all straight lines. LT walls are all straight lines. Jungle gyms are all straight lines. She could very reliably get hits at all of these tiles very, very easily. However, a lot of junk filler loops that were just sort of like round pallets and stuff like that, it was a lot more of a struggle to get hits there. And playing as killer, it felt kind of bad in that scenario. I was like, that's just kind of frustrating. But at the same time, I also acknowledged, yes, it's true, it's frustrating, but it's also the only downside she actually has. Those short, round, bad tiles you can play without even using a power were her only weakness because she would actually have to shift back into human form. That's why I said, okay, that's fine that she has that downside, but maybe let her shift back into human form a bit quicker so she can just chase as a, no power killer around these loops, so it's kind of fair for both sides there. Because like I said, these loops are usually typically not very strong and can be outplayed with no powers at all. So that was where my mindset was when I said, okay, make switching to head form better. But they made her head form better and then removed the main downside of the actual tentacle whip by making it so you do not have collision with the environment for the first 0.06 seconds of it. So now you can just slide around loops like Chucky Slice and Dicing, just kind of like this. If this is pre-dropped, I'm not sure. Nope, never mind. I can glide around it now. Yeah, no, they really removed her one downside. Because of that, those round filler loops are no longer safe. Those were the one bastion of safety you actually had against this killer, and now you can't even use those. So now, effectively, this is a killer that has not a single downside whatsoever. She is on par with Nurse and Blight in terms of having very low to almost no counterplay. I would even argue Blight has more counterplay in some scenarios. Not very much, but she is literally at that level now, and it's because they made it so you don't collide with things and you can slide around these short round loops. Again, that being her only downside. Additionally, they made the turn rate of that significantly better as well. So now not only will you not collide, but you can actually curve around things significantly more, which enables you to hit even further beyond what you were supposed to be able to hit. And also, the damaging hitbox of the power now seemingly starts instantly. So also that downside of it not having an active hitbox the second you press the button is gone as well. So now you can hit people doing medium vaults and things like that, where normally you would slam into them and nothing would happen, kind of like how Wesker is bugged right now. But now, not even that happens. Now you hit immediately. Also, sometimes when you were close range, you would slide past them. So there was kind of a skill cap to the killer where you had to actually back up a bit to actually charge into them to hit, which also gave survivors a chance to actually possibly dodge it. It was all, kind of annoying to play as, but it was intentional for the balance of the killer. All that's gone. Now you hit immediately. You don't collide with things, and it just can be turned more. It's just... Also, now there's less fungus on the map as well, so people are going to remain infected more. And also, one of the most... It's just like... Also, one of the most glaring flaws about the killer that people addressed in the PTB was you retain infection when you are hooked. So if you are hooked by this killer and you're infected, when you are unhooked, you are still infected. And it doesn't matter if you eat a mushroom, because if the killer wants to tunnel you, it just cancels your mushroom, and then you just eat shit. She just tunnels you. It's just... Her ability to tunnel was commented on by so many people on the PTB, and it was just not addressed, and she was buffed in every other aspect. And also, tunneling was made stronger by nerfing off the record, and also all of the anti-tunneling changes did not go through at the same time. It is just such a conglomeration of fuck to survivors that I frankly do not blame anyone for just like disconnecting against this killer. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying I can at least understand, because she's just fucking stupid. She is just way, completely, entirely too overtuned. And I do think there is a chance for her to be redeemed here. Really, what they need to do is just kind of go back to where she was on the PTB, like, entirely. I know a lot of people on the PTB were saying she wasn't very good, but it's just simply because they didn't learn to play her enough. They didn't play her for more than a few hours. They made a very quick conclusion, because, like I said, when I played her for only a couple of hours on my first day, I was like, high B, maybe low A tier. But then as I started playing her more and more throughout the week, I was like, okay, no, this is definitely at least A tier. And then, by the end of it, I was like going, okay, she's like high A tier. Then these changes, she's legitimately S tier. So yeah, I do think there is a chance for her to be saved, but like I said, this is something I was really worried about. Because when we get a killer that she's this blatantly overpowered, obviously people are gonna fucking hate you for playing this killer. And again, I understand it. So every time there's like a really fun killer I get into, like, the Ghoul, for example. I've always wanted like a Spider-Man-esque type killer, and we got the Ghoul. Except Ghoul is the most hated thing in the entire game until now. So I would just feel guilty. I know people make fun of me for that. Just who cares? Have your own fun. I know, whatever. That's just me. You don't have to apply this to yourself. But I feel guilty when everybody hates me so much for playing that killer. And this killer is even worse. So I feel like I don't even have a new killer right now, because it's like, it's not even enjoyable to play her. It feels like you just type, I don't know, TGM in Skyrim, and you're just attacking things and you're invincible. It's just like, it legitimately feels so strong that it's not even like rewarding here. So like I said, the fact that this came with not adding the anti-tunnel system and nerfing off the record, and they did nothing to address, like, dude, I wasn't even playing sweaty. I played for 5 hours and I had one loss the entire time. It's because I was trying to hook everybody before killing people, just to mitigate how shit it is to go against this killer. And I played so overly nice that I threw away like 4 kills on purpose as people ran right by me so I could go find someone else. It was the only game I lost, and I still got 10 hooks, because, it's just like, you have to go out of your way to play nice with this killer to even have a chance of losing with her once you understand how to play her. I'm not saying you're just going to immediately be a god with her and stuff like that, but once you learn how to play her, she literally has the tools to basically win no matter what. If you play sweaty as her, she is essentially impossible to lose to, in my opinion. Even I would love to see even like a 4-man comp squad go against this killer. I legitimately believe they would lose more often than they win. And again, this is not, they haven't figured out what to do yet. It's that she is so relentlessly good at tunneling people that if you play like that, there is nothing a survivor can do to stop themselves from dying when they get unhooked. At the very least, they need to make it so mushrooms at least instantly cleanse you, or make it so when you're hooked, you lose the infection, because it is so easy to apply the infection. Shooting the infection projectile takes like a second The cooldown is like 0.5 seconds. You can swing instantly after using it. It's really not hard to ricochet off walls because it has a giant cone that splatters. And if all that fails, you can just directly hit someone with it like it's a hatchet or something like that. It's really not hard to apply infection. So at the very least, make it so infection is cleansed when you are unhooked, or mushrooms instantly cleanse it rather than taking like 20 seconds to do so. Because as it stands right now, if I try to tunnel off the hook with this killer and that person's infected, I guarantee I will never lose a game ever again. And that is absurd. And I don't even think you need to be that good at this killer to do that. So those are my thoughts on her. She is blatantly overpowered right now. She needs to be far closer to what she was in the PTB, which was a very solid A tier killer with one downside, one weakness. And I think that would be significantly more fair. You can keep some quality of life stuff, like switching back into head form is a lot smoother. I kind of like that. But most of this other stuff has just got to be reverted to what it was in the PTB, because she is just ridiculous. And if you don't think this is the case, I urge you to play her a bit longer, get more acquainted with how to play her, or as Survivor, go against her a bit more. And I believe you will start to come to the same conclusions that everyone else has already started to see. So yeah, blatantly overpowered. I say that with no sensationalism at all, just legitimately possibly the best killer in the entire game. She will be nerfed, 100%, no doubt. But let's kind of make her back to where she was on the PTB, not something that's trash and unusable. That would be a shame as well in the opposite direction. But that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.